number 99?
We ain't got a number 99.
Are you having trouble, 66?
So, gentlemen, I'd like you to remember that the man who is trained in unarmed combat is equal, if not better, to any man who carries a knife or even a gun. Thank you. Thank you. Voila! Thank you very much, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. I must say it's very nice to be back on television, and whether you agree with me on that is a debatable point. The strange thing about, we've been planning this show for quite some time, and believe it or not, the most difficult thing about doing a show like this is to find the title. Spend hours thinking about, what are we going to call the show? Endless meetings, numerous conferences, all the bright little brains of the BBC are brought in. Think of a title. And if you're not careful, you finish up with a great title and a lousy show. I haven't been on television for quite some time, and the strange thing about not appearing on television is that people can forget you quickly. They don't actually forget you. They know you, but they forget you. And you walk down the road and somebody says, ah, yes! You're, I know the face, know the voice, seen you on radio. Don't tell me now. You're my greatest fan. Dave Allen. I said, that's right. Love your shows. Never miss any of them. Especially that dummy you got, Lord Charles. The funny thing, people have I don't know what it is. They've got a feeling about people who appear on television. People will walk up to you and say, what's your job? I say, I work on television. They say, no, what's your real job? How many shows do you do? And I say, one. I say, what do you do for the rest of the week? And then they come up to you and they say, when you're on television, do you wear makeup? I do, but I'm not. Another great question, they sneak up to you in a bar and they say, is it true about the girl dancers in television? I don't know about the girl dancers. I know it's true about some of the boy dancers. Great question they ask. It's one I love, actually. They come up to you and they say, do you do your show live? No, I stabbed myself first in the back. I have on television a reputation for being what we call a storyteller. I've had this reputation since I was a child, in actual fact, because I used to tell stories about my brother and my mother and my father, and I used to tell stories about everybody. I even used to tell the priest about a lot of them. He used to blackmail them. He was a rabbi. I have a reputation for telling stories about certain subjects. And one of the subjects I like to talk about, in actual fact, is drink. Because I don't know how drink affects you, but when I drink doesn't affect me tremendously. I mean, if I get stoned out of my head, I'll get into bed and I'll go fast asleep. And I tell you, and I mean this very sincerely, if a burglar were to walk into my house, I would immediately be alert. I would wake up. My mind would be sharp, concise, clear. I would think, where is my torch? Where is my club? And then I would think, how do I get out of bed? One or two drunks walking down Piccadilly Circus, and as they're walking, one drifts down into the underground, and the other fellow carries on walking into Leicester Square, and the first drunk comes right out again. And says, where you been? I don't know, I went down into some fellow's cellar. He's got the biggest train set you've ever seen in your life. There's a drunk who arrives home, and waiting for him is the very formidable figure of the wife. And she looks at him and she says, drunk again? He says, so am I. She said, what does the clock say? He says, the clock says, tuck, bong, dingy, ticky, tick. She said, where have you been? He said, I've been with a sick friend. She said, what's wrong with him? He said, he's too sick to tell me. I had a very good friend of mine in Ireland. Great drinker. He's in a pub one night. And what we call in Ireland a nasty night. Storms, dark clouds, thunder, lightning, and all but... And he's in the pub and he's thinking to himself, God, that's a terrible night. That's a night for all the banshees. That's a night for all them headless black and tans to be walking about. I'm not walking home the long way tonight. I'll take the shortcut through the graveyard. And unknown to him in the graveyard, a new grave has been dug for the morrow. And as he weaves his merry way in on the gravestones, he comes to this empty grave which he doesn't see. Boom, he's into it. And with the mud, the rain, and the slime, every time he gets to the edge of the grave, he slides slowly back in again. And he thinks to himself, I'll stay the night. And a half an hour later, another fellow leaves the pub, decides to take the same shortcut home, weaves his merry way in on the same gravestones, comes to the same grave, which he doesn't see, and boom, he's into it. And like the first one, every time he tries to get out, he slides slowly back in again. The first one's sitting there looking at him. Stands up, taps him on the shoulder, says, "You'll never get out," he did. I read the papers. The thing about television, and I really do enjoy working on television, the thing about television is that it's immediate. The very word is immediate. Television is immediate. I sit here, there's a camera there. Whatever I do is instantaneous. Sent all over the country, all over the world. This show is recorded. I'm surprised. And the funny thing about today is that we completely accept the use of the camera. But what if the camera had been put back in history? If with the camera we could have captured some of the great moments of world history.
Gentlemen, Mr. Thomas Alva Edison.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. I have invited you here today because you are some of the greatest scientific brains in the world. And I wish you to witness my latest and I believe my finest invention, a true benefit to mankind. Hello? Hello? Anybody there?
How about an isolated skirmish during the Napoleonic Wars?
Surrender! Surrender! Never!
A moment of relaxation on the Spanish Main.
Six, 3, 6, 4, 6, 4, 5, 4.
Or perhaps one of the greatest moments in English history.
Henry the Fourth! Long live Henry the Fourth! Long live Henry the Fifth! Long live Henry the Fifth!
Many stories surround the legendary King Arthur and his magical sword, Excalibur. Would that our cameras had been there to film but one of them.
Excalibur! Excalibur! Where are you? Excalibur! Where are you?
Communications and techniques of communications are becoming more and more advanced. You realize in Japan they're experimenting on what we call phone vision, which means when you phone somebody, you can see who you're talking to. Now, I don't know about you, but I get phone calls at the most embarrassing moments. And I have no doubt that in years to come, television will be like that. As you sit and watch television, television will sit and watch you.
The GPO has announced that its experiments on two-way viewing are a complete success. But an opposition spokesman quoted as saying this is typical of the government's present policy of invasion into the privacy of the private citizen. An inquiry is expected to be held, and results of this inquiry will be known at the end of the month. The pound had expression for some time today, and stockings were stocks were going up. There was a bomb scare today at London Zoo. Police and fire brigade were called in to cordon off the area. And bomb experts were called in to dismantle this bomb. It was very successful, as this bomb was due to go off this evening at 9 o'clock. It was successfully accomplished.
Darling, do you think we should go upstairs?
Do you think we should?
Football results. Arsenal, not Arsenal, Stockport County. I'm terribly sorry, ladies and gentlemen. The results of a BBC survey was announced today. This shows that 58% of the viewers have 2 television sets, one downstairs and one upstairs.
A lot of people think that the Irish come across here because of work, economics, or even religious persecution. It's got nothing to do with that. The reason we come to your country is because over here, you're a permissive society. In Ireland, we're not. Here, you have sex before marriage. In Ireland, we do not. We come to get our share. The Irish are very good at populating other countries. In more ways than one. So for all you know, you might be laughing at your brother. The 2 Irish fellows talking about sex before marriage, and one tells the other, he said, what do you think about sex before marriage? He said, I don't think about it. He said, well, I know I never had sex with my wife before we were married. Did you? He said, I've no idea. What's her name? Mind you, we in the 20th century think that we are the most sophisticated, advanced, and most permissive of all societies. But no matter what we do today, somewhere, sometime, somebody has done it all before us.
Here, have you heard about that wife swapping? Heard about it? Where do you think I got the pig?
An expression that is heard a great deal is talking shop, and I think it's something that we're all guilty of. We're all affected by the jobs we do. Do we take over a job, or does a job take over us?
The next train to arrive on this platform will be for Paddington only.
That's my Gladys.
Non-stop to Paddington. Sorry, Arnold, won't be 5 minutes.
Yes, my son?
2 bob on Pixie each way in the 3 seconds. 2 bob Pixie each way.
Let's not lose touch with the outside world. Let's go to our news desk and our newsreader, Chris Searle.
Good evening. Early this morning in a Birmingham hospital, a patient was accidentally left in a steam room at a temperature of 150 degrees for several hours. A hospital spokesman said the patient was as well done as could be expected. Reports are just coming in from Australia regarding a Chinese attack on the city of Adelaide. We're expecting a call from our Australian correspondent, and we'll bring you more news as and when it comes in. An unexploded German bomb was discovered on a Sussex farm today. Army bomb disposal experts were called to the scene.
She's primed, ready to go. Can we
diffuser? We can, if we take it nice and easy and gentle. Screwdriver. Anything could set this one. Be terribly careful. It should be all right. Spanner. Be careful, sir. This is the moment of truth, Sergeant. Turn your...
Don't try and force it, sir.
Your voice down. Slight vibration. It's going to go off. Take a breather, Sergeant. Sergeant? Sir.
Excuse me. Hello? Yes. Yes. I see. Right, thank you. We still haven't made contact with Adelaide, I'm afraid, but as soon as we do, we will. Now, it was reported last night that film star Dean Martin, while attending a Hollywood party, tripped and fell into an outdoor swimming pool. An eyewitness said someone threw in an olive and created the world's largest cocktail. An early Gregorio de Ferrari fetched a world record price at Sotheby's this afternoon.
Now, lot 47 in your catalogues, ladies and gentlemen. An oil on canvas, Gregorio de Ferrari, 1670 approximately. Samaritana El Pozzo, Sumerian woman at the well. May we start the bidding, please, at the reserve price of 90,000 guineas. 90,000, thank you, sir. 90,000, 100,000. 110, 120. 120 against you, sir, at 120. 130, thank you, sir. 140. 140,000 guineas. Once, twice, sold to the Vermeer Galleries of New York for 140,000 guineas.
It was announced in Downing Street this afternoon that the government are now extremely concerned about the population explosion. The South American Revolution. For a week now, little news has come through from reporters trapped in the battle-torn capital, La Paz. But tonight we've just received this film flown to us by our man on the spot, Michael Charlton.
This is Michael Charlton, but cameraman Ted Hughes reporting from the rebel headquarters, El Paso, the Comanche Hotel, room 423. As you can see, our position is not too comfortable. We have been trapped under this bed for the last 3 days. This room has been the center of the rebel activity. And at the hub of this activity has been the commander of the rebels, El Manchu. Ah, this is him now. Easily recognizable by his black beard and his jungle greens. I gather that he's going to question 2 of his own people who are suspected of spying for the government. Yes, here comes one of them now. El Manchu is accusing him of being a traitor to the cause. This is what is called the softening up process. El Manchu is now handing him over to his lieutenant for further interrogation. And now for the second suspect. It will be interesting to see what method El Manchu uses here. This is Michael Charlton, the cameraman Ted Hughes, reporting from the rebel headquarters, El Paso.
Now, more about the invasion of Australia. We now learn that masses of Chinese troops have been landed by parachute and have almost taken over the city. Our man on the spot, Keith Atkinson, is now on the phone from Australia. Are you there, Keith?
Hello, London. Keith Atkinson is calling you from Adelaide, Australia. Will you pay for the call?
No. Here's a late racing result. Blue Peter won the 1928 Derby.
The poet Tennyson said, "Ours is not to reason why, ours is but to do or die." And many people believe that these sentiments made Britain the great empire that she was. This tradition of loyalty was never more evident than the relationship between manservant and master.
You this, James. Do that, James. Yes, me lord. No, me lord. Pick this up, James. Put that down, James. Yes, me lord.
Thank you, James. In doing a show like this, we record the sketches, and then we think of a reason to show them to the audience. We've got a lot of sketches coming up, and I've been sitting, walking up and down my dressing room, thinking, what reason can I show you or tell you for showing these? I've got no idea. Here they are.
I like your new home, Ronnie.
Thank you, Michael. It's comfortable.
Bit remote, though, isn't it?
No, it's on the main bus route.
For the seat. Hello. Yeah. Hang on. It's for you.
How are you?
Sir? Yeah? There's a tramp steamer coming alongside, sir.
Ah? What do you want?
A shilling for a cup of tea, sir.
The one thing that we're all sure of in life is death. And when I die, that is, if I die, I would like to die by firing squad. It's quick, short, and at least you have a last request.
Before your execution, you are entitled to one last request.
Anything?
Anything? It's very unusual, but... Senorita!
Caramba! Madre mía. Ay, ay, ay.
It's mañana!
You're too late. He's dead.
The Irish, a strange nation of people, the Irish. We laugh at death. We laugh at drinking. We even laugh at the English. But one of the main sources of Irish humor comes from religion. We laugh at religion. We don't laugh. We laugh. Otherwise, you get a telegram from Rome telling you you're finished. I got a dressing room full of them. And people come to me and say, what is the Church of Rome really like? The Church of Rome is a conservative church. I don't mean by that they vote for Ted Heath. Conservative in their attitude. And many people feel that they're too conservative, that the attitude of the church today is too conservative. And this is why we have this creeping liberalism within the church from priests. Priests want to do away with the celibacy laws. They want to get married. I don't know how you feel about a priest getting married, but I feel that if a priest meets another priest and they like one another, sure. Here comes the first telegram. Within the Catholic Church, if you go to a Catholic Church, you'll see what we call statues. And each saint within the Catholic Church represents something. For example, St. Peter is the guardian saint of all fishermen. St. Christopher, before he got expelled, used to be for safety. The one man that we have in the Catholic Church, which we call St. Anthony, is a saint that we pray to if we lose something. And you get a little fellow who's lost his wages, and he goes into the church and he prays. And he's got the statue of St. Anthony, and he says, Sir Anthony, oh God love us, I've lost the wages, and the children will starve all week, and the wife will belt me over the head. Please, St. Anthony, if you can help me to find me wages. I'll go off now and I'll look for it. And while he goes off, the woman who's cleaning the church bumps into the statue of St. Anthony and knocks it over, smashes it to pieces, and goes, "Ah! What have I done? What have I done?" And the priest says, "Don't worry now, don't fret yourself at all. We'll get another one. Just clear up the mess. And in the meantime, we'll put a little miniature statue there, so the people will know that St. Anthony is still there. And they do, they put the little miniature. And a half an hour later, the fella comes back, and he goes up and he goes, St. Anthony! Will you tell your father I found me wallet?
Let us now look at religion through the eyes of a... No. Oh, it's a long time since I've heard such terrible sins in the confessional box. You, my son, have committed sins against God Almighty and mankind. What do you do for a job?
I'm a talent spotter, Father, for the BBC.
In that case, for your penance, I'll give you 10 Hail Marys, a 5 bodies, 3 Compedias, 1 Arvinas. Then that's the only way to save your soul.
Oh, what are we going to do about Maria? What are we going to do about
There will now be a short interval. Dot to dot. Let us all pray quietly.
Have you ever considered how much we rely upon the telephone today? Today you can phone a dinner, you can phone a test match, you can phone a prayer, you can phone a sermon. Even in warfare, the phone is never far from hand.
For God's sake, hurry up, man.
Hold on, sir. Hold on. I think I'm getting something through now.
That's the first stroke. 9 and 50 seconds.
Hello, Lotus Flower. Hello, Lotus Flower. Come in, Lotus Flower. Come in, Lotus Flower. Hello, Lotus Flower. Lieutenant Lagasaki here. Yeah, 1 fried rice, 1 king prawn, 1 sweet sour, and 1 soy sauce. Thank you. Oh, bye. So.
Look, Smithy, look, I really must protest. I joined the army to see some action. And here I am condemned to spend the whole war sitting behind a bloody desk.
All very well for the modern soldier, but what of the great armies who didn't have the use of the telephone? When you think of the vastness of the Roman Empire, think how superb the communications must have been.
Halt! Our commander, stranger approaches.
Maximilius Sextus, standard bearer of the 15th Legion, reporting for duty.
Welcome, Sextus. Is this your first tour of Britain?
No, I was here before in 55 BC with Caesar.
Ah, you will find that things have changed since last you were here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of our show. And like all performers, I would like to finish the show with what we call a big finish. And I think we have the finish to end all finishes.
The fools. The stupid fools. Who could have let... Third World War. The end of the world. realize you and I are the last man and woman in the whole world? Oh, don't start that bloody thing again.
Good night, thank you, and may your God go with you.
And there's more from Dave next week at 10:35 here on BBC Two. Rory Bremner, Hugh Dennis and Joe Brand. Book of the Week, next here on BBC Two.